So we have here two models that I would say they really represent how modern testing should look like. We have here on the left side the Spotify Honeycomb, which is actually coming from the backend, but it was just important to me to show you that even in the backend, where we have actually quite a lot of logic, the testing pyramid is not state of the art anymore. So we say here, the Honeycomb says it should be more, the testing should more focus in the middle. On the right side, you see Kent Dodd's The Testing Trophy, which is very famous. It was originally invented for React, I guess. So what he's saying, if you use TypeScript, static typing, that you don't need to write unit tests for type checks. I think that's clear for us as Angular developers. But in the end, it's also the focus on the integration tests, not so much on the unit tests. Because again, the reason is unit tests, if you don't have logic, and like if it's like with this quiz store, where I said, what do I want to test? I have a service which is just calling an HTTP client, and I'm only testing this thing. What does this give me back? Not that much for the time I need to invest. We are much better off if we focus on those kind of integration tests first, where we say we cover the whole story, the feature, and then we can, for example, use code coverage tools to find out if there are some empty spots that we might have missed, and these are then maybe candidates for unit tests, so to say. End-to-end test is here also small. Why is that? Well, end-to-end test is great, yeah, so don't get me wrong. End-to-end test is really something, and it's still questionable if it might not become a bigger part in the future. But with end-to-end tests, we have two issues. We have, first of all, the issue that they tend to be very slow. And the second one is that it's very hard to set up the infrastructure. So end-to-end test usually also contains the backend. And this is not easy to do, to have a testing environment with feature branches that you say, okay, now you boot up the backend for this one, you boot up another backend for another thing. That's not easy. And I don't even want to talk about the database, because if you also include the database, which naturally will also be part of it, then you have some issues with your tests, because every test is changing something in the database. So the test seed is going to change over time, and all the tests, they need to be aware what the other tests have been doing before.